Fuck you. This is not a fucking hobby. You're listening to the most relevant sports show on the internet. He's a combat veteran turned entrepreneur turned sports journalist. And she has an IQ higher than your entire family combined. It's the S3, and it starts right now.
All right. Let's go. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do some house cleaning here. There we go. There are our beautiful faces. Her beautiful face, mine. Still trying to figure it out. Welcome to the S3. I am JD. She is Ms. Lady. I'm Ms. Marnie Tisdale. Jeff Demers. What's going on? We're going to be drinking today. Well, I'm going to be drinking. She's going to be doing something with her non-alcoholic stuff. So, ginger beer. All right. Well, we'll get into that in just a second. But first, sports fans, are you in the market for a new used vehicle? Well, maybe it is time to upgrade your ride. Get something more reliable for the family, or finally treat yourself to that dream car. Whatever the reason, there's only one person to see, and that's Mr. Kevin Moore down at Liberty Buick. Kevin and his team have the best selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with unbeatable deals and top-notch service. No hassle, no stress, just great vehicles at great prices. So don't wait. Head on down to Liberty Buick and ask for Kevin Moore today. Tell him JD sent you. I messaged him probably about an hour ago.
Oh, yeah?
So do you realize that I've known you for over 20 years? Which is freaking getting old, man. Like, oh my God.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, oh, geez, that's a long minute. That's a minute when the clock has stopped for a few hours. That's what that is.
He's a good guy. I like the feeling of being taken care of and not the feeling of stress and worry and that they're going to get one over on you. So,
like, not like, you know, most of these shows, I seriously doubt like half of these guests that do stuff for dealerships, they're really driving the brand new 2025 so-and-so on a sports show host, local sports show host, salary. Seriously? Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. No, we've had the same used Chevy truck that we bought from Kevin 3-4 years ago, something like that.
Coming up on 3 years pretty quick.
Yeah, and I beat the hell out of that car, and it is still
almost doubled the mileage.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Almost doubled the mileage. Still.
All right, so let's jump into it. What's first?
Headlines and horrible dad jokes.
All right, headline number one. Patrick Peterson, 8-time Pro Bowl cornerback, retires as a Cardinal. Peterson played his first 10 years of 13 with the Arizona Cardinals. He made all 8 of his Pro Bowls with Arizona. He is 6th all-time with 28 interceptions for the Cardinals. When they asked him if he thinks his jersey number 21 should be retired, he said, not before Fitzgerald.
Right.
I concur.
Yeah.
I can think of a couple others, maybe Otis Anderson, possibly. I don't know, but Otis Anderson, by the way, is the leading rusher all time for the Cardinals.
Definitely. Good old Larry.
Yeah, Larry goes first.
His time on the team.
When Peterson left, he did not leave on like he was talking trash to them when he was a part of Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess they mended. They asked him about it, and they said, you know, time heals all wounds in a way, so to speak. So he's back. He signed a one-day contract to retire as an Arizona Cardinal. So
that's cool. That's kind of cool. I'm glad they did that for him.
Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals, by the way, just an FYI, have retired now 4 jerseys in their franchise history. That is number 8, Larry Wilson. Number 40, you may know him as Pat Tillman.
Yeah.
Number 77, Stan Malden, and number 88, J.V. Kane. I believe Malden was a lineman, and I think J.V. Kane, number 88, was a tight end. So Malden was back in the just after World War II. So he was back when they were part of the Chicago Cardinals.
Still,
yeah, you did that history once.
I did.
All right. All right. What do you give the dentist of the year? What do you give
No
the dentist of the
idea.
year? How about a little plaque? Seems like something
I
you
don't
do.
think you'd appreciate it, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what they spend their whole
I
life
mean, if you
saying.
did, he should know how. If he's the dentist of the year, he should be able to take care of that real quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right. Headline number 2, Atlanta Hawks star guard Trae Young was ejected late in last night's play-in tournament loss against the Magic. He received one technical for throwing the ball hard to the refs after he made a shot. And then when they went to shoot the free throws for the technical, Young decided to kind of put on a little game of dribble and keep away from the refs, where he received his technical for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Right.
Young said after that he was just trying to look out after his guys and thought the refs were not calling the game fairly. So I looked it up to see how lopsided the calls must have been.
Right.
Record, the Hawks were called for a total of 18 fouls during the game, while the Magic, who won, by the way, by 25 points, were called for 25 fouls.
I would need to see how he actually threw it too hard before I could make a judgment.
Oh, he did throw it, but like
that's pretty ambiguous. But the second one, where he was playing keep away, that is unsportsmanlike conduct. There's no way to go around that. You'd be like, he's kidding. That's not how any of that works. So
he made the shot, caught the ball, and then two-hand chest pass right to the ref.
Okay.
It was on the edge, if you ask me.
The second one was for sure out of line, but the first one could have just been someone being petty.
Well, you're not supposed to touch the ball after it goes through the net. That's a delay of game warning. So, because that keeps the other team from like sprinting out to get the basket before the defense can get back. So you're not supposed to touch the ball anyway. All right, next up. Did you hear about the woman who couldn't stop collecting magazines?
No.
She has issues. She has issues.
That would also work with comic books and newspapers.
Ah, very good.
God, they're all issues.
All right. So Travis Hunter, two-way star for Colorado, who's entering the NFL draft, should be probably a first 5 pick, somewhere in there, told CBS Sports that it would be, quote, game over if an NFL team he couldn't play both ways. Now, apparently, so far, the teams that he's talked to have zero problems with that.
Does he offense and defense? Is that what he means by both ways? Okay.
Yeah, because he played corner and wide receiver at Colorado. That's how he won the Heisman. So my problem with this is if he gets hurt, you're not only down a starting receiver, but you're down a starting corner.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see both sides too, though. You'd have a pretty powerful weapon if you had somebody that dynamic at the same time also. Yeah. But
that's what Dion did for a little bit.
You are doubling injury risk. So this is true. I agree.
All right. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
No idea.
A gummy bear.
Gummy bear. Popped in my head.
It came to you. All right. Headline number 4, the NBA's play-in tournament continues tonight with the 9-10 matchups in both conferences. The Heat will play at Chicago and the Mavericks will play at the Kings. Magic and the Warriors have both locked up the 7th seed for their conferences with wins in yesterday's 7-8 matchups. The losers of the 7-8 game, that being the Hawks and the Grizzlies, will play the winners of tonight's games to decide the 8th seed in the East and the West.
Okay.
The official playoffs start on April 19th. That will be a 4-game slate between ESPN and ABC with a little TNT mixed in on Sunday, I believe. That is the 4-5 matchups between the Nuggets and the Clippers. The new head coach, Nuggets, by the way.
Yeah.
I assume that they just promoted somebody to interim coach. I haven't even looked into it. And the Pacers and the Bucks, and you also see the 3-6 matchups between the Lakers and the Wolves and the Knicks and the Pistons. The Celtics, Magic, and the Rockets Warriors will be on the 20th, along with the 1 seeds, the Thunders Thunder and the Cavaliers are both waiting to see who their opponents are. Again, they will play whoever ends up in the 8th seed.
The Cavs actually took the number 1 seed over.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's okay. I'm fine with that.
Better team, so.
Yeah. And everybody's like, yeah, well, the Cavs beat you twice in the regular season. Yes, they did. They beat us both times without Porzingis in the lineup. But
right.
When Porzingis did play, it was an absolute blowout. Right. Both times.
Yeah, he makes it.
So it's going to be fun to see. Now, here's the problem, though, is Orlando is not a walkover. They have a lot of youth, a lot of talent, and they can outrun the Boston Celtics if they can start making shots that way. So this is not a easy walk in the park for the Celtics.
Right.
All right.
For it.
What do you call a girl in the middle of a tennis court?
I don't know what.
A net. A net.
I get it.
Okay, good.
Annette the girl. Annette hit the ball over. Yeah.
All right. What's next?
You're the reason we drink.
You're the reason we drink. I was totally set up to do the more suns on this one. What are you drinking, by the way? Crack that open. This is non-alcoholic, by the way, for those that...
It's like ginger ale, but it's fresher ginger, so it's a little bit spicy and much sweeter.
We dug this out of the cabinet. Little Crown Royal caramel.
You finally gave me a reason to open it.
Caramel, because we're not drinkers. But some of these teams, some of the sports teams, you're the reason why we drink. Last week was the Suns. This week, all right, so let me take my shot of caramel.
Caramel, sure, either way.
All right, here we go. I'm drunk. All right.
You guys think he's kidding, but...
What tell anybody? I love them. All right. I'm actually doing this on like an empty stomach and everything. Like we're 3 hours into my like window that I could eat, but I haven't eaten anything because we're having spaghetti tonight. Am I right or am I right? Tell me I'm right.
Yep. You're
all right. Awesome. You make some amazing spaghetti, but it's healthy spaghetti.
Healthier. Yeah.
So why is it healthier? Let's do a little real quick. Like, what do you do to your spaghetti so that you can eat it?
Well, I use noodles I can eat. I can't have gluten, egg, or corn, which is what most noodles are. So they're millet seeds and rice. So it's a healthier grain to begin with. And then I make my own sauce. So I do use canned tomato sauce. Then I mix in my own seasonings and stuff. So that's a bit better than like all the corn syrupy stuff off the shelf. And then, meat.
Bottom line,
I would put a bunch of veggies in there if it was for me. But
spaghetti is one of my favorite meals, and she still managed to take away the good stuff and still make it awesome. So I can't wait. Like my stomach cannot wait. I should probably sip a little bit of water before I take another shot. All right. So you're the reason why we drink this week. The reason goes out to the University of Colorado, most specifically their football department. So apparently, after only 2 years of being at the university, they are retiring Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's jerseys. You have got to be freaking kidding me. They only spent 2 years there.
Right.
2. Let me tell you why I have a problem with this. Shedeur Sanders is a combined 13-11 as a starter at Colorado. Right. That's just the regular season. 13-11. He ranks 5th all-time in passing yards. He did have some phenomenal stats last year that put them, as far as regular season goes, one of the best seasons any quarterback has ever had at Colorado. Average for somebody else at another school. But it is pretty much the best regular season. But you're retiring his jersey. He did not win in his only bowl game against BYU as they were beat down 36-14. That just says retire the man's jersey all over it. In that game, he threw for a meager 202 yards, did throw 2 touchdowns, but also threw 2 interceptions. The standards are pretty freaking low at Colorado to retire a jersey, or are they? I'm going to get into that in a second.
Okay.
He had only 1 win in 2 years. He had 1 win against a ranked team. He was 1-7. Retire the man's jersey. Are you freaking kidding me? At least Travis Hunter actually won the Heisman.
Right.
And you can actually argue, I could argue because I like to argue, that he was not the best wide receiver in college football. Not even close. He was not the best cornerback in college football, but he played both roles very well. And he was like one of the only players in all of college football, especially D1, to do that.
Right.
So kudos. You actually won the Heisman. Retire your number, but you can't retire your number without retiring Deion Sanders' son's number. I guarantee you that the discussion, because Deion just signed a new contract, Deion probably said, I'll sign this, but you have to retire my son's number.
Right.
I would not put it past him.
No, that's the ego. That's the ego that belongs in that family. So
he is not going to win a damn thing without Shedeur Sanders. He's not going to win anything.
Before you get into the nitpicking, the next part, is it normal to retire a college player's jersey before they've gone pro? Because it seems like I would wait for a couple of years and then go back and retire, like Tom Brady's jersey after he won his second big game. Maybe then his college could go, you know what? We're going to retire this now.
Yeah, I don't think they retired.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're a little more proof.
You know what? That's a perfect point. Because Tom Brady, I mean, like, yeah, they won a college bowl game with Brady, but they still didn't retire his freaking jersey.
Until he...
No, I don't think Michigan's retired his jersey.
Okay.
I know the Patriots have retired, but they waited till the end of his career.
That's that one just makes more sense to me, because unless you're like number one across the board, no one can question it through your entire college career, which somehow lasts 6 years.
He had a great season. He had the best regular season than any other Colorado quarterback, but he didn't have very good competition.
Right.
Like great quarterbacks don't go to Colorado.
Like a season, it needs to be more. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you. Okay, go back to your.
All right, so I did some digging because I wanted to see who else they retired, and I'm not going to tell you who they did retire, but I'm going to tell you who they didn't retire.
Right.
Now they did retire Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's jerseys, but here's a problem that I have with that, among the many that I've already listed. Eric Bieniemy, who is a championship-winning coordinator in the NFL, is the all-time rushing yards and rushing touchdowns leader at Colorado.
Right.
His number is not one of the 6 that is retired by Colorado.
Right.
Okay, he is the all-time rushing yards leader and the all-time rushing touchdowns leader.
Two pretty
Travis Hunter
in the game.
Travis Hunter and Shedeur get their jersey retired before him. Yeah. Sifo Liufo is the all-time passing yards leader, and he holds the Buffalo's record for the most touchdowns in a game, and he is number 1 in total yards. His jersey number is not retired at Colorado, but Shedeur Sanders, 13-11 Shedeur Sanders, 1 against ranked opponent, 1-7 against ranked opponents. His jersey is retired before Sifo's. Nelson Spruce is the all-time leader in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. Travis Hunter's not even in the top 10 in either category.
Right.
His number is not one of the 6 that are retired at Colorado. John Stearns is the career leader for interceptions at Colorado. Travis Hunter, again, not even in the top 10. His number is not one of the 6 jerseys to be retired. Are you freaking kidding me right now? I guarantee you it was part of Dion's contract to retire both of those players' jerseys. That's got to be something he came up with. In order for him to sign his new contract, be the head coach of Colorado moving forward, I guarantee you Dion said, nope, not unless you retire my son's jersey, Travis's jersey.
Yeah.
Because without them, he's nothing. Because he had them at Jackson State as well, down in Division II, right, or Division III, HBCU.
Anything to fit that big ego.
Wow. So, Colorado Buffaloes, you are the reason why we drink. Oh, woo! That one had a little kick to it. All right. What's next?
NASCAR at Rockingham. News and notes.
All right. So the Cup Series is actually off this week. They get an off week. You'll see a lot of fishing. You'll see a lot of family time. Somebody will probably travel to Paris, whatever, from the Cup Series. This weekend they are at Rockingham.
Alabama.
And what's that?
Alabama.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
North Carolina. Hey.
I didn't have any reason to assume Alabama.
Head like a helicopter. North Carolina. All right. I'm singing P.D. Pablo on our show. This is terrible. All right. Let's go over the schedules. All right. The Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Which one do you want me to do first?
I'll go ahead and do Xfinity first this time for kicks.
All right. Because we want to be fair, you know. All right, so the next race is North Carolina Education Lottery 250, presented by Black's Tire, because they didn't have a long enough name. Replaces at Rockingham Speedway, track length 0.94 mile asphalt oval. The date, Saturday, April 19th. The time is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The purse, $1.651 million. You can watch on the CW at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also listen on radio, MRN, and Sirius XM NASCAR Channel 90. The distance is 235 miles. That is 250 laps. Nailed it. Stage 1 ends on lap 60. Stage 2 ends on lap 120. And the final stage ends on lap 250. Let's dive into Xfinity Series notes before we tell you what the Truck Series schedule looks like. So this weekend will be the 43rd running of a NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Rockingham Speedway and the first since 2004. Rockingham Speedway is one of 9 active tracks that were on the NASCAR Xfinity Series inaugural season schedule in 1982.
Interesting.
Rockingham is the 4th of 4 Dash for Cash races in 2025, that being Miami, Martinsville, Bristol, and Rockingham. Rockingham Dash for Cash drivers this week are number 1, Carson Gvoppel. Number 7, Justin Allgaier. Number 8, Sammy Smith. And number 20, Brandon Jones. Right. The best finisher of the 4 Dash for Cash drivers will win a $100,000 bonus.
Nothing to laugh at, folks.
Catherine Legg, who made her NASCAR Cup Series debut at Phoenix earlier this season, will make her first start in the Xfinity Series since 2023. That was at Road America.
It'd be fun to see her.
Casey Kane. Now, this guy I have had issues with. Casey Kane will make his first NASCAR Xfinity Series start since 2017. He will be driving the number 33 for Richard Childress Racing. Casey Kane used to drive the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports, which is currently pretty much owned by Kyle Larson.
Right.
We really haven't heard much from Casey Kane since he put Danica Patrick in the wall on purpose.
Is that what happened?
So what had happened was in that race, Casey Kane was on the lead lap. Danica was down like 2 laps, but just got fresh tires, so she decided to try and unlap herself.
Yeah.
Casey took issue with how hard she was racing and put her in the wall. They weren't even on the same lap.
Hendricks would definitely not put up with that. Is that part of the falling out there, you think?
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say what you want about Danica. That's just dirty racing. The guy's not, their driver is not even on the same lap as you. is not threatening you at all for position, and you get mad that she's trying to pass you, so you put her in the wall.
It's easy to forget sometimes because of the way they drive and how aggressive they are. But that's you can kill somebody doing that. That's not really something to ever take lightly or turn your nose up at. So,
yep. Justin Allgaier holds a stout 83-point lead over Sam Mayer and second in the Xfinity Series driver standings following Bristol. Justin Allgaier leads the series in top 10 finishes this season with 7, including the last 6 consecutive races. It's pretty damn impressive. He has been doing well. Allgaier is also the only driver to complete 100% of his laps attempted this season, which means even when he spun out, he has been able to keep going. So that is actually that's
hugely impressive given how often they wreck out of races.
Keep it off the wall. All right. Sam Mayer is second in the driver point standings and has 5 top 5 finishes this season, including 2 runner-up finishes. That is the season's most runner-up finishes. So he holds that. Justin Allgaier also leads all Xfinity regulars in laps led with 334. That is second most behind only Kyle Larson. Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith will be competing in both the Xfinity Series and Craftsman Truck Series this weekend at the Ham. I'm just calling it the Ham. Rockingham. All right, let's check the schedule for the Craftsman Truck Series. This race, again, is the Blacks Tire 200. They sponsored the first race, too. That's rare for one company to sponsor both races. Yeah. All right. Never heard of them, and they got enough money to sponsor both races.
And then sponsored one for themselves, if I had to guess.
Right. All right.
Sure.
Again, this is at Rockingham Speedway, Friday, April 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a grand total purse of $782,900. You can watch this on FS1 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on radio MRM Sirius XM NASCAR Channel 90. Distance 188 miles, that is 200 laps. Stage 1 ends on lap 45. Stage 2 ends on lap 90. And the final stage ends on lap 200. All right, let's check the notes for the Truck Series. This weekend will be the third running of a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Rockingham Speedway and the first since 2013. 2012, 2023, and 2025 is what it's saying. All right, third running. All right, cool. Rockingham is the last race of the Triple Truck Challenge in 2025. Daniel Hemrick, who won at Martinsville, and Cherno Smith, who run at Bristol, are the only drivers eligible for a $150,000 total Triple Truck Challenge bonus at Rockingham, with no drivers eligible to win the $500,000 bonus this season because nobody could have swept it.
Dangle that out there and then
you had to be able to sweep it. Chandler Smith is the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 6 Truck Series races in 2025. The record for most races to start a season finishing in the top 10 is 19 by Ron Hornaday Jr. in 1996. So he's got a little ways to go. Corey Heim and Tyler Ankrum lead all drivers with 4 top 5 finishes in 2025. And Corey Heim is also the only driver to lead in all 6 races in 2025. All right. What's next?
We back the DBacks.
We back the DBacks. All right. The Diamondbacks currently sit in 4th in the NL West with a 10-7 record. They have won 3 straight and 5 out of their last 6 games. Yes, I'm peeking at the score. All right. During that span, they have outscored their opponents 40-13, and that includes a 7-0 loss against the Brewers last week. They're currently winning against Miami 4-1.
The game where they came back and scored 5 runs in the 9th freaking inning.
I was there in the press box. I know. Thank you very much. Which, by the way, the undefeated streak. The undefeated streak is going to get put to a huge test next week. Now, if you don't know about the undefeated streak, it is the SportsMediaX undefeated streak, where the football team has not lost with me in the press box. The baseball team, Arizona State Baseball, has not lost with me in the press box. And yes, the Arizona Diamondbacks, including coming back from 4-0. From down 4-0 in the 9th inning, I was in the press box for that game.
That was so cool.
SportsMediaX is yet to cover a loss. But this is going to get put to the test big time next week, as I will be in the press box for all 3 games against Tampa Bay next week. So, like, it's gonna be a tough one.
We'll have to see if we sweep them.
All right. They finish up a 3-game series tonight and tomorrow in Miami before heading to Chicago to take on the Cubs for 3, who they opened the series against, and they lost that series. They will be back home for 2 series next week against, like I said, Tampa Bay and then Atlanta. I will be in the press box for all 3 of those games against Tampa Bay. Corbin Carroll has been on fire as of late. He leads the team this season in hits, doubles, home runs, and is second in RBIs behind Gerardo Perdomo. He is currently riding an 8-game hitting streak. I believe 9 games now. I'll have to check. And popped his first grand slam of the season last night. Outstanding. He has been on base in every single game this season. And I do believe, if I can peek real quick, fast, and in a hurry at the box score for the Diamondbacks, he does have a hit tonight as well and an RBI. He did strike out twice, but he's 1 for 4. And the Diamondbacks are currently up 4-1 in the middle of the 7th. All right, what's next?
Speak of the Devils.
All right, so ASU Baseball is home finally after posting a 1-3 record on the road against Cincinnati and Purdue, making them 7-7 on the road this season. They are back at Phoenix Municipal Stadium starting tomorrow night for a 3-game series against Texas Tech in a Big 12 matchup. They then play 1 game at GCU before hosting 5 more games against BYU. That is 3 games. That is a Big 12 matchup. And a Long Beach State. That is not a Big 12 matchup, but that will end the month.
All right.
Arizona State is 23-14 overall and 9-6 in Big 12 play. I think they're currently sitting in like 6th in the Big 12. So not bad, but they need some of that home cooking. They need some of that home cooking bad. They're 16-7 at home.
Yeah.
All right. So, once again, I do want to give a shout out to Kevin Moore over at Liberty Buick, the man whose balls are so big he had the balls to actually sponsor this show. I promised him it's in the contract. I have to talk about how big his balls are every show.
every single show.
Every single show. Massive. Just like, yeah. All right. Hopefully I made the quote on that one. Shout out, as always, to our men and women in uniform. Thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice. Lady M, what is the final word?
Keep loving sports.
That's the show for now. Shout out to the most badass military in the world and the toughest veterans to ever walk the planet. And as always, all you haters.